I do not believe
Right.
jack fucking shit. You tell me your handwriting is good? Fuck you. Prove it. I don't give a fuck about words. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I don't give a fuck about opinions. I care about facts. And if Einstein says something bullshit like unicorns living in my asshole is why the universe was made, he's a fucking dumbass. Prove it. Everything needs proven. Big Bang Theory, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Evolution, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. God exists, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Unicorns exist, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it. We fucking need evidence for any and all justification for belief in this natural empirical world we live in. There's no evidence for supernatural, there's no evidence for ghosts, there's no evidence for magic, there's no evidence for your God. What's up, Cap?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, you over the age of 18?
Yes, sir. 23.
Wonderful. Which God do you believe in?
Christian God.
Thank you. All right, why should we believe in him?
I was hearing you guys talk about quantum physics and quantum mechanics. Disproves or doesn't prove of God. I'm also here to say that it also,
or disprove God.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That was gonna be my point. But there's also like we don't exactly know we don't have a proven theory how the universe particularly started. We do know that a Big Bang is in fact real. That the universe started in
our observable universe expanded.
Right, exactly. But we don't know how the hot state even occurred, or where even the particles and the atoms even came from.
Who says it occurred?
Right. Who says it had to start?
Well, that's also a good point. But it didn't come from nothing. I mean, kind of had to either it always existed.
Because it didn't come.
Right, but the thing is, you can't say it didn't come from nothing and then add God and say no, it can exist because God is non-physical and has no physical matter, and matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed, meaning that adding your God does nothing. And if you believe he created the universe, you do believe that something can come from nothing.
George is pretty full crazy.
So yeah, that is honestly like the loop that I myself can't ever answer about exactly like you were saying, like how even God came into form if we can't say that the universe can't come into form on its own. So I do agree with that. That one I can't actually answer, but I do know that with also the Bible being pretty much historically accurate, and also
no, the only thing in the Bible that's historical are some places that exist. Nothing else. We cannot prove any of the events.
We can actually prove a lot of the events. Like, really? Jesus was a real person. He was documented. Jesus also...
Jesus existed. There's scholarly consensus that he existed because of Josephus, Tacitus, and Pliny, and also an inscription of talking about Christ. But there was also a church called Seraphim Crestus, and they were called Christians. And Josephus and Tacitus and Pliny never met him. They were saying hearsay of what they heard from people around them. So it's not even contemporary. We just accept that it must be true because of so many people believing it, which again wouldn't even hold up in a court of law. So I don't personally accept that as a truth. I'm not saying Jesus did not exist, but I'm also not saying he absolutely did exist because there's barely any evidence.
I think that Jesus could have been a person, but we're talking about the events, not just the people, right? So the events would have been him being resurrected, him duplicating bread, him walking on water, him turning water into wine. Those events, they are not proven.
So how would you go about proving said events?
Your job is to prove them, not ours.
Yeah, that's...
No, I'm saying, like, okay, so let's say we take anything from any historical background. Like, let's say, like, we know history today as far as records of people's personal testimony, and we take that to be history, correct?
Cap, we believe history based on evidence proven beyond reasonable doubt. If you have reasonable doubt, then it's not justifiable as truth.
Right. You're asking how you could prove it. You can't, right? Because it didn't happen.
Okay, well, give me an example of something that happened in history.
We can prove that you can't logically duplicate bread. You can't logically walk on water unless the water is frozen or you're a spider that doesn't break surface tension. Was your God a spider? I don't think so. And also, we can prove that you could not turn water into wine in a few seconds.
Okay.
You also can't resurrect from the dead.
Exactly. You can't prove that. We can prove that that's not true.
So what evidence do you have?
You can provide evidence that God or Jesus was a real person, right? Because Jesus was a common name, and crucifixion was a common way of execution at the time. Does that mean the miracles happened? No.
But does it also mean that the miracles didn't happen?
Nope, but it
Because, like, you know, how can
the
you
miracles
prove
don't have justification
otherwise?
for belief, same as Santa Claus,
Well,
unicorn,
you're gonna
same
have
as
to prove.
leprechaun. So why would I believe in
You're
a
saying-
miracle if there's no reason to believe in it?
So,
And
like,
also, wait,
give me an
hold up.
example.
No, first you're gonna have to prove to me that it's possible to duplicate bread, turn water into wine, walk on water, and be resurrected.
Well, I can't exactly just prove that.
Right.
Right. So then you
When
can't.
like, turn, okay, like the whole point of Jesus turning bread into wine is that he is part of God. God is
You don't even know
omnipotent,
if it
so that he
happened,
can do
dude.
that. We have people who have testimony
Name
witnesses,
one
and that's usually how
contemporary
we
witness. One.
contemporary witness.
One. Name
Hold on,
one.
You mind if I pull this up?
The answer is that you can't.
1 second.
He thinks he can.
Paul, John the Baptist.
Y'all can't hear my keyboards clicking, right? Like, it's not like.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Okay, cool.
I love click clack.
I was
My
making sure I
ears
wasn't
too.
like. I got me this Corsair.
Peter,
Gotcha.
clicking.
Dude, I've got a really cool one that's a
Paul, literally none of those people,
typewriter.
Paul, Peter, Matthew, none of them ever met Jesus. They are, claiming off of what they've heard. They don't have firsthand accounts.
Where's the
Again.
first contemporary witness, Captain?
Ash, I can't find one.
I know,
I was
there's no such thing.
I was looking up to see if I could find
Yeah,
one
the
real quick,
Gospels
'cause
are
I was like-
anonymous, and the names were added in the 2nd century by Irenaeus. We have no fucking idea who wrote them. The closest we have are Q, L, and M. So Q is going to be source, L is attributed to Luke, and M is attributed to Matthew. But we don't actually know. We just attribute it because of the ever so slight evidence we have for the way that somebody of those types of characteristics would have written.
So so do you think it's not, any basis that Paul would like interview the apostles and when they report directly to him and he's taking note and writing it down
We don't know
himself?
if that's true. That's the equivalent of me reading Harry Potter and them saying that Mrs. Dudley was writing down that Harry went for a walk. So what? The book says so. Congratulations. Where's the evidence that it actually happened? It's a book. It's a story.
So
it's a myth.
Would it not be the same if he said himself that he went for a walk?
Did Jesus himself say he went for a walk?
No, I'm saying is it not the same? Like whether it reports from one person or a second person,
Brother.
is it still any less valid?
Oh my God. Yeah, it changes drastically. That's like,
So-
you do know that in today, with the technology we have, if you go 24 hours over with even a first contemporary eyewitness to a crime, after 24 hours, it's not even trustworthy. And you have to test it even higher with higher scrutiny, let alone 2,000 years with 0 contemporary witnesses.
But Paul's letters himself were the earliest
didn't
Christian
Jesus.
writings. He didn't know Jesus personally.
There you go. It's all hearsay.
Because he was
Congratulations,
in,
you're cool.
he was in 48 to 60 AD.
Right, and he was also
That was also
crazy.
the earliest Christian
He
writing.
also knew quote unquote Jesus from visions and dreams. Dude needed grippy socks, but we didn't have psych wards back then.
Because Spider-Man himself said that a radioactive spider bit him, it's true, and Spider-Man's our one true God. Believe in him now.
Yeah, the comic book says it's real. New York is real. Obviously, Spider-Man must exist. No, that's not how this works. We
Right.
need evidence.
Okay, what about ancient historians like Josephus?
We have evidence that he existed. Contemporary evidence and multiple
But no,
writings.
he's a doer of wonderful works.
So, first of
he
all,
was a Jewish
we have
historian.
contemporary witness and his writings. We do not have either of those for a man named Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, or Paul. So congratulations, you're indoctrinated, spreading a belief uncritically. You believe by faith, and that's okay, but to say it's true is false.
So let me get this straight. So just because someone else reported, because you got to also remember in that time, a lot of people were very illiterate. They couldn't just sit there and write biographies about their own personal records. So a lot of people were interviewed.
Dude, you're telling
The apostles
me that a man
by Paul.
walked on water, turned water
You're
into
telling us
wine, healed
Jesus-
blind
wait.
people, brought people back from the fucking dead, claimed to be God and did prophecies and works and wonders and healings over and over and over and over in public, in front of Roman guards, in front of Roman counselors, in front of fucking tax collectors, in front of all these wealthy ass motherfuckers, all of these people that do know how to read, write, scribe, etc. And not one motherfucker wrote it down. Not one. Out of 500 witnesses that Paul so said that there were, not one motherfucker wrote this down. It's the equivalent of me walking up to the White House, flying in the fucking sky, and not a single news broadcaster showing up. That's stupid. Zero
And
evidence.
not only that, but Jesus himself could not write. He couldn't write.
Yeah, no.
Right. The person who's apparently God, or at least part God, it couldn't write. I don't think so.
Said Jesus was illiterate.
Well, no one's saying he's not illiterate. You know what I mean? Like,
How crazy
why would
would
he
it be
write
if
about
I'm
himself?
flying in the sky in front of the White House and not a single person records it?
And like you're saying like not a single person that all these people should know how to write and stuff, but only 5 to 10% of the population in that century could
Yeah,
write.
and he was in
Read
front
oral.
of the wealthiest and the educated of the educated.
Okay, so why would he write down to spread to where only 90 to 95%
They would
of the
have wrote it, dude. They would have wrote it. There's no Roman writings of him at all, not even of his crucifixion, of which they held to such a high degree of standard and scrutiny that they wrote everyone down, dude. They were very organized people, very organized. They wrote everyone down. He has no writings. The only thing we have about a man named Jesus are 4 anonymous gospels of supposed people that are characters never before proven to have even existed, let alone proven to have ever walked with a man named Jesus, writing down these so-called miracles and stories that contradict each other beyond fucking measure. That's all we have for this man. Random ass, anonymous motherfuckers, decades, almost a century after, writing shit down from hearsay. That is the equivalent of me doing something today and my first grandson or son writing it down, and then his great-great-grandson writing it down, and then his great-great-grandson writing it down. That's what you have. Do you trust everything your great-great-grandfather says? Because I fucking don't.
I never met him, so I can't tell you that for sure. No, I don't know.
Right.
He's never
First
like
of all,
said
how
anything.
unlikely is it for you to even meet your fucking great-great-grandfather?
This day and age, kind of rare, but it can still
lived
happen.
less long than us. They did not
Less
wash their
long?
hands, brother. They shared a poop stick. They did not wash themselves. They were dying from diseases every motherfucking day.
Okay, so like but basically what you're saying is that just because someone reported, like it's basically like a reporter, or like let's say you're
don't
a
know if
cop
it's
and you're
reporter.
investigating
Dude,
a
plot
crime.
twist, it was some random ass teenager that was fucking bored and he was writing down Roman gods because guess what? Dionysus turned water into wine. Guess what? The Roman gods did all these things as well. Guess what? All these Roman gods,
That's also skepticism.
Greek
That's
gods,
not-
all these other mythologies did every single thing, every single action that Jesus ever did in this book called the Holy Bible. So all I know is that a random ass fucking teenager wrote shit down from stories he liked and was told growing up. I have no
Or
reason
all
to
you can
believe
know is
otherwise.
that you can,
I have no
or it is
reason
the
to believe
person who
otherwise.
said wrote it.
I have no reason to believe otherwise. There's no
But you also have no
justification
reason to
for
believe
belief.
it's false.
There's no justification for
Yeah,
a
just
belief.
like the same reason, just like the same way we have no reason to believe Santa isn't real, right?
I mean, do you see Santa coming into your house every night, every year?
Do you see Jesus coming into your house every night, every year?
Disprove Santa
one's saying
Claus
he's
right
coming to
now.
my house every night. Disprove Santa Claus right now?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like
Debunk
I've
that
never
Santa
seen
Claus.
him.
Actually, I can
Disprove him.
prove Santa
I've never
Claus.
seen him. No one's ever seen him. No one ever reports that
No one ever-
a man
no one-
in a
Wait, hold up.
I've seen
What do you
Santa
have to
Claus.
say
The
about
fuck
all
you
the
talking
books that
about?
talk about him?
What about the
With the
millions of
story-
witnesses,
Wait,
the
with the
millions of children that are eyewitnesses, contemporary eyewitnesses to Jesus Christ?
I've
Or
seen
Santa
him in
Claus?
a mall.
We
I
have
saw-
more
Eyewitness.
justification of belief for Santa Claus than we do Jesus. We have millions and millions
was
and
in the
millions
mall.
of contemporary eyewitnesses for Santa Claus. Shit, I went to the mall last week and saw Santa Claus. The fuck are you fucking talking about?
I went to the mall yesterday and saw Santa
Okay,
Claus.
okay. So like,
Evidence for
this proves
Santa.
my point. You said kid. You were using kids as a contemporary eyewitnesses, but at the same time, they are kids. They
Yeah,
are
we
not
have
reliable
millions
witnesses.
of contemporary witnesses today, including kids.
It's not. No. I'm gonna stop you right there, Cap, because it's not okay to just be dismissive of kids because you think they're not smart or they don't know.
No one said they're not
That's-
smart, but they're not reliable eyewitnesses.
That's
Well, I think it's more reliable than the two witnesses that
No,
you
that's-
have
If
that
there
haven't
was
even seen it.
5 million kids saying they
That's-
saw this thing, I'm gonna be like, holy shit, I should probably listen and pay attention.
No.
So
And
where
I
do
wanna
you
say,
see that
that's-
5 million kids say they
Yeah,
saw
let me see
Santa?
how many kids in America
And like let's
believe in
take a look
Santa.
at let's take a look at also the conditions of it. Was it their parents dressed in a Santa outfit?
Yeah,
Was it
no
Santa
shit.
at the mall?
Yeah, no shit, but there's still evidence for it.
So like even though we know that the Santas they're seeing are not like the
How do you know
real
that?
deal Santa who are cosplaying
How
as
do you know
Santa,
that? How do you know Santa doesn't exist? How do you know it?
because we have
How do
like
you know my parents
eyewitnesses
aren't
Because we have
like
no what?
actual
We have
Santa
no what?
Claus.
We have no what?
No eyewitnesses that develop an actual Santa
Oh,
Claus.
wonderful. We have 0 for Jesus. Congratulations, you debunked yourself.
We do have witnesses for
Name
Jesus. 500 of them.
Name one.
So like, okay, so here's the thing.
No,
so
name one, bitch. Name one. You just said you have 500 witnesses. Name one.
I can't name them all.
Exactly.
We have a
No,
witness
there are
right
not
in front of
500.
us.
There is one sentence in the entire 66 canon called the Bible that mentions 500 witnesses. That doesn't exist anywhere else in the entire world in any book ever written. There is not a single fucking
And
name attributed
yet-
to those 500.
And yet all of us have seen Santa.
So, but you didn't actually see Santa.
Prove
Well,
it.
actually,
Mm,
I
prove
would
it.
argue that the Santa in the mall is the real Santa. You just don't know it.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
what basis would you have with that?
not only that, but the New York is referenced, or not the North Pole is referenced, meaning that because there's a real place, that's even more evident.
See, I'm trying to use like Santa, like he's like most likely to be real, but we all know that he's not. Like everybody, it's not even like a debate
Right, but
at all.
unlike you, when
Real,
we
because
grew
know
up, we
we
stopped
know the
believing in
context.
all the myths, including Jesus.
Not like you say Jesus is a myth. You don't have any like evidence to prove that he never
You have no
existed. That he
evidence
never
that he's not a myth, dude. That's the point. You have no evidence that unicorns don't exist, but you don't believe in them. I have no evidence that God does not exist, but I don't have a belief in him because there's no fucking evidence to justify a belief in him.
Why was Christmas?
Mhm.
Why was Christmas stolen to be Jesus's birthday?
I can't tell you that honestly because I know it's not his
Because
birthday.
it was
Here's
actually
whole entire
the
point.
winter solstice.
There is no justification for a belief in your Jesus or your God. Therefore, I lack a belief. Same as you have no ability to disprove unicorns and Bigfoot and leprechauns, but you don't believe
So,
in them
I
due
gotta-
to a lack of evidence justifying a belief in them. Why don't you believe in unicorns? Because there's no evidence that they exist. There's no evidence
I
for
got
your
a
God's
question for you.
existence, therefore I don't accept a belief in him. It's called epistemology.
So you say there's no sorry, I'm not, but sorry, I sound my own words sometimes. Contemporary witnesses, right? So let's say a reporter were to go and
let's not say.
interview
Provide
45
one
people.
contemporary witness.
Okay, so like I'm saying, well, no, I'm asking you, if a reporter goes and interviews 45 people to say they saw a spaceship,
I'm not gonna
right?
believe
Like
you.
they saw a
We're gonna have
spaceship.
to
You
45
have an
people.
issue. No, there's an issue because you're trying to use the Bible to prove itself. That is not how this works. You cannot use the Bible to prove itself. You have to use something other than the Bible to prove that the Bible is true.
And I'm
There's
not
other
gonna believe those
historians that
45
reported that
That
witnesses
because-
tell them themselves. There's like
because,
other
like-
historians.
It's literally the same logic as me saying because Spider-Man said he was bitten by a radioactive spider, he was, and he is real. That is not logic. I cannot use the movie of Spider-Man to prove itself. Just like you can't use the Bible to prove itself.
Okay.
You have
Well,
about
you
the
got-
same
you got-
amount
you
of
got a
evidence
Jewish
for
historian,
Jesus that we
Josephus,
do
you
for
got
the
Tacitus,
tooth fairy.
the Roman historian.
You have about the same amount of evidence for Jesus that we do for the tooth fairy, right? Hundreds of thousands of kids each year report their teeth going missing under their pillows, right? That means the tooth fairy is real. That's honestly more evidence than you have for Jesus.
Okay, and then you got Suetonius. He talks about, mentions Jews causing trouble in Rome as the instigation of
Congrats.
Christus. You got Babylonian
Congrats.
Talmud.
There's also a Sacred Christus Church. Has nothing to do.
But what I'm
Christ
saying
was a
is there's
regular
also
title
other
that
there's,
were given
there's
to
other
priests.
historians outside the Bible that talk about this.
Dude, no. There's 0 contemporary writings. All the writings we have about this supposed
Well, there's
man
no
named
con-
Jesus.
there's no
Listen,
contemporary.
Shut the fuck up and pay attention to it for a second. All of the writings about Jesus, all of them are hearsay. 100% of all writings about Jesus are hearsay. This person said, this person acted, this happened according to. None of it. Zero justification for it being true. And this is supposedly the most important event in all of human history to have ever happened by an all-knowing, all-powerful God that should have known that we would have the tools to be able to go back in time and know these things. He should have thought about this sooner. There's no justification for belief. Zero. You can now unmute and respond.
Okay. So, like I was saying, like, you know, we talk about contemporary.
It's hearsay. It's hearsay.
But like,
as I said, it is hearsay. Whatever you're about to bring up, it's hearsay.
Okay. Well, can I finish, please?
No, you cannot. You're about to talk about hearsay. I don't give a fuck about hearsay. I care about evidence leading to justification of truth.
Okay.
Fuck testimony.
Okay.
Fuck
So
anecdote. Fuck feelings. Fuck opinions. Facts don't give a fuck about your feelings.
Okay, so basically you're saying that just because there's no contemporary witnesses who also can lie, what else?
There's no justification. Provide the evidence.
Not only is there no contemporary witnesses, but there's also the fact that it's illogical that a man would be able to resurrect, turn bread into, or duplicate bread and turn water into wine and walk on water. That's illogical. Adding up
And the fact that no one reported on it, it's just super unlikely. The fact that someone would do something so mind-breaking at the time and not a single person would report about it except for this one book, that the only time it's talked about by other people other than him was people who have never met him. It's just so unlikely, like extraordinarily unlikely, like about the same likeliness of my hand phasing through my wall.
Well, that's because you're not the son of God. Like, we're not.
That's possible. It's the likeliness is 10 to the 30th,
okay,
which is extraordinarily unlikely.
So, like, when we talk about, like, you're saying that no contemporary witnesses and, like, you know, the fact that none of these can happen, but we got Alexander the Great, you know, there was no contemporary witnesses, or Julius Caesar.
Yeah, there were. We have claims with his face on it. We have wars reported that reportedly lost against him. There's a bunch of people who say he existed.
Okay, but where?
Where? What do you mean where?
Okay, because the earliest sources that we have of Alexander the Great comes 400 years after him.
Do they?
Yeah. There's no contemporary witnesses for Alexander the Great. There's 0 writings from Alexander, none from people during his life. You also have the same thing with Julius Caesar. We have some writings from Caesar's commentaries, but most are much later. 107, the earliest biographical sources we have is 170 years after his birth. 150 years. Cleopatra, none. Also 120 years after her passing.
Are we sure?
Positive. Yeah. So yes, we can say
Alexander the Great.
We can find Alexander the Great. If you can find any contemporary witnesses for Alexander the Great.
So tell me how it's logically possible to walk on water.
I don't think you need purely contemporary witnesses. There's many other things of like evidence that you can have, right? So like number one, just like people reporting about him. So Rome writing about it, anything. Things like for Alexander the Great, we have coins with his face on them. People talk about him, right? There's much more evidence on him than there is for Jesus.
Okay, so but with Jesus, we have multiple independent sources, early written material within decades, any confirmation, we have Roman plus Jewish confirmation that he was executed under
Name one contemporary. Name one.
Sorry, I was going to call. Give me 1 second.
Name one
actually.
Roman record. Contemporary.
Contemporary about
name one
confirmation.
Contemporary Roman record of his crucifixion. Name one. One. I want
I
one.
believe it was one of the Roman leaders actually.
Yeah, name it.
I don't know if it's contemporary, if he heard it.
It's not contemporary. We don't even know when the fuck he passed away. It's all hearsay. What are you not fucking getting? We have more evidence for Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great than we do have for Jesus. There is no justification for belief. You believe based on faith, belief without evidence. You are indoctrinated, period. You can run the same argument over and over and over and over and over, and you have no goddamn fucking justification for a belief. Zero. Zero contemporary witnesses. Zero evidence. Gospels are anonymous. You have no evidence for these so-called miracles. You have no reason.
Okay, but we also I was
Okay,
gonna pull
bro,
up.
no,
We
bullshit,
have
shut the fuck up. You have no fucking
the
justification.
top tier Roman historian,
Name one.
top tier Tacitus.
No, Tacitus is not contemporary, you dumbass.
Well, I'm just saying he's a top tier Roman historian. Even
Dude,
he's literally like he's a source outside the Bible, and he said
never
that
met Jesus. He said this is what people believed. Go read Tacitus.
God.
As I said 45 trillion times, I want you to say this back to me. Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth right now? Yes or no?
I'm listening.
Do we have one contemporary witness for Yeshua HaMashiach? Yes or no?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
But there's also a lot of contemporary evidence or witnesses we don't have about a lot of figures that we take.
Yeah,
to be
I don't
fact in
believe
history.
people without evidence. I'm not a fucking sheep.
So do you believe that Alexander the Great did all the things that he did?
We have evidence of Alexander the Great, you dumb fuck.
What evidence we have of Alexander the Great?
A, we have a fuck ton of contemporary witnesses, lineages of DNA genes that follow down, and stories following therefore of contemporary witnesses. Second of all, contemporary writings. Third of all, we have a goddamn motherfucking coin with his fucking face on it. We also have archaeology that have proven with statues and other attributions to this man. Thank you very much. What fucking evidence do you have for Jesus? Does he have a coin?
There was actually no contemporary. The
Does he have a
earliest
coin?
writings were
Hey, does he have a
about
coin?
300.
Hey, does he have a
Wait,
coin?
wait.
Hey, does Jesus have a coin?
You can have a coin. You can have
Does he have a
paintings or
coin?
anything.
Does he have
Like,
statues?
it doesn't mean
Bro,
anything.
does he have contemporary
There
statues?
would be a
Dumbass?
bloodline. There would
So
be a
look at the scribe
bloodline.
season to
Wait,
an artist, and he
There
can say
would
he
be-
can paint that. He can make a statue out
We
of it.
do have
There were-
contemporary fucking witnesses for Alexander, dude. Do you need me to fucking
who
do
are
your research
Jesus's-
for you?
who is related to Jesus is my question. Because if Mary had a son, right, she would have parents, she would most likely have siblings. There would be people related to Jesus. Also, do you believe Jesus is a man?
Jesus, yeah,
Do you believe he's biologically male?
yeah.
How is he biologically male if there was no male chromosomes? If his mother was pregnant, she wouldn't have any male chromosomes, meaning that when she gave birth, it would be biologically female.
What are you talking about exactly?
Because if no man contributed to the birth of Jesus, there would be no sperm. There would be no male chromosomes going into that.
But she
Meaning
also wouldn't be
that he
pregnant in the
wouldn't
first
have
place.
he wouldn't have inherited any chromosomes from his father. He would have been a biological female. He would have been a trans woman.
All right, so the contemporary accounts for Alexander the Great are going to be Callisthenes, Ptolemy, and Nurkius. We have artifacts and inscriptions, including archaeological discoveries of coins, inscriptions, and artifacts from sites associated with Alexander, providing tangible evidence of his existence and his influence. Example, the coins bearing his fucking image. Okay, royal tombs at Vergina. The discovery of royal tombs in Vergina, believed to be linked to Alexander's family, includes significant artifacts that showcase the wealth and artistry of the Macedonian royal lineage. We have the Battle of Granissus. Recent archaeological findings have pinpointed the location of the battle that he led, where Alexander achieved a significant victory. So we have also excavations of Alexandria. Archaeologists continue to explore sites in Alexandria, where recent discoveries, including a statue of Alexander, have reignited interest in his legacy. We have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 evidences that point towards Alexander existing. So there is justification to believe that he did exist. We have no eyewitnesses for Jesus. we have no DNA, we have no body, we have nothing. What we do have are three people, Pliny, Josephus, and Tacitus, that said that they heard that people believed that this thing
And
was
not
true.
only that, but we don't even have an idea of what Jesus looked like, right? Those pictures that everyone says is Jesus is actually Da Vinci's gay lover. So
Why are we still arguing about the same thing with the same guy that we've been saying for the last 20 minutes?
Okay, but my point is like, okay, it's like, you know, coins and stuff. It just proved that he existed, but it doesn't prove anything that he did, like speeches, conquest details, battles, personality, stuff like that. That just proves that he existed.
No, because those are all reported on by multiple people. Like the battles.
There's no like actual evidence of writings about someone who knew him personally.
Yeah,
That's-
so we've already proven that he's existed because of the coins, right? And we can prove that the battles happened because of the writings about the
Contemporary accounts
battles.
of Alexander are Callisthenes, Ptolemy, and Nurtius. Contemporary.
Oh, can you repeat that? Sorry, you cut out.
Yeah, contemporary writings for Alexander are going to be Callisthenes. You're going to have Ptolemy and Nurtius.
I'd also like to. So he's on coins. He's drawn out. He's like drawn in paintings by multiple
Yeah,
various
the coin
people,
is extremely important.
right? That proves that he existed. Same thing with the paintings. And then we have reports of the battles. We have contemporary witnesses. So this is all more evidence than you actually have. You have a book.
There's also other historians that back eyewitness claims.
Right. Like who? Josephus? I mean, who are we talking about? Josephus?
So someone said, like, why would Jesus have coins? Like, or where is Jesus coins? Why would Jesus have coins?
What? So again, like Jesus.
Okay, so you said Callisthenes, right? Okay, so what I found with Callisthenes is that none of his own writings survived. We only know his work indirectly through much later historians.
But we know that there were writings.
Okay, but it also doesn't mean there wasn't writings for Jesus. But it's also the same he said, she said.
There's
It's
no
not a contemporary
evidence
work.
supporting that there
Because,
were
like, we don't have
contemporary
any of his
writings
own
for
personal writings. We can't say
Writing
he's
about
contemporary.
We have no
It-
evidence
it-
that there was a contemporary writing for Jesus. Again, all we have is hearsay from non-contemporary. What we do have for Alexander with Callisthene is that there was contemporary writings that were destroyed, and the person that wrote it was later able to be proven to have written it, even though we don't have the physical copy. So we have evidence that there was contemporary writing. There is no evidence that there was contemporary writing for Jesus. Thank you very much. Next fucking point. This is the most cognitive dissonance I have seen in a fat fucking minute. You refuse to accept the fact that there's no fucking justification for your belief and you believe by faith. All you have to do is say these words: I believe by faith and that is enough for me.
Well, I believe by faith, but I also believe by my own reasonings.
You have no reason. Every single point you have brought up, we have spent 30 minutes going in goddamn circles because you can't accept the
Okay,
facts.
so
It's called
here's
cognitive
also my
dissonance. You
point.
refuse to accept facts.
Okay, so here's also my point. Is like, you know, a lot of the things about how we live in Earth itself is like, you know, it's
I have
almost like
zero
design.
faith in anything. There's no design
he's
for
gonna
this
go
world.
into the. No, we don't want you to go into the finely tuned theory because it doesn't make. It has no back for it. I can literally open.
Yo, Benji,
multiple
thank you for the
sources.
So how does it have
superstar.
no back? I want you to explain to me like how things are so
I
perfect.
can open multiple sources.
They're
Things
not
aren't so
perfect.
perfect. Why are we?
Oxygen is the
Why are we
reason
the?
we
Why are
age.
we the only planet in the universe that has? Are we the only current observable universe, or planet in the universe that has a life form on it? Right? Why would he create all these other planets for there not to be a life,
Right,
or for there to be a
wait.
life form and only one? Why is there a type of pig whose tusks grow into its head? Why does cancer exist that it isn't caused by actions by like humans? Like there are various different
I'm
types
gonna
of
read you
cancers.
an article really quick because it's clear that you don't do your own research, Cap. So it's the title of the article is "The Utter Destruction of the fine tuning argument. It says Christopher Hitchens rightly said the argument from fine tuning is the best argument theists have, but only because it requires thought to figure out why it's bullshit. Whereas most Christian apologetics is obvious bullshit from the first moment you hear it, because it is actually a really bad argument. Here I will explain this and then analyze a recent amateur attempt to get around it. The result is my most complete, definitive destruction of this argument today. Okay. It says, first it begs the question, by pretending the luck of there just being a god is any better than the luck of fine-tuning itself, which is the hidden fallacy in the fine-tuning argument. Gods are far luckier to have than even spontaneous inflation, owing to the argument from specified complexity against supernaturalism, and are far luckier than the simplest possible state that would make our universe inevitable. Second, it has no data by which to be by. Second, it has no data by which to establish any of its premises. We do not even know what can be finely tuned, or absent gods, what then selects the variables that there are, or what probability distribution that selection process has. Blah blah blah. And then third, the frequency of life-bearing universes is that possibility space is unknown. Not only is it not factually known, it is impossible to know, because no math presently exists to determine probabilities from infinite arrays of innumerable variables. If an infinite number of infinitely adjustable constants are possible, and logically they are, you simply cannot know how many ratios among them will be life-producing, particularly as infinite as many of those random combinations will be multiverse producing, and thus do not have a start as life producing, but only have to inevitably funnel to a result that is like eternal inflation, or small selection, or Velikan, or Penrose cosmologies, and so on. That's just in parentheses. It says, all of which is why hardly any theoretical physicist today finds the fine-tuning argument in any way convincing. It's simply not a scientific theory, and shows up in no peer-reviewed scientific study, because it is quite simply pseudoscience. It is rather a climate science denial now. The rare expert still wearing his tinfoil hat is up against literally thousands of experts rolling their eyes at them.
Okay, can you quote me the source so I can look at it myself?
Yeah, here. So it says it's here, let me get the exact title.
While she's doing that, I'm gonna say this.
Okay,
There's nothing wrong with faith. There's nothing wrong with religion.
richardscarrier.info. The title of the article is "The Utter Destruction of the Fine-Tuning Argument."
What's up?
So is Richard's
search up the utter destruction of the fine-tuning argument.
Okay, so the utter destruction of the fine-tuning argument.
Says,
This is Richard Carrier blogs.
Yeah, I think.
Michael, there is plenty of evidence to prove that we come from apes. We have various we can show you the line of evolution stemming from apes.
Yeah, we can get Evan in to talk about that eventually. Cap, here's where I'm gonna leave it at.
I will.
I'm sorry, what?
Here's where I'm gonna leave it at. There's nothing wrong with faith. There's nothing wrong with religion. 90% of the population cannot handle the absurdity that we have that is called life. But there is no justification for the belief when it comes to a natural world. If you want to believe it, that's good for you. It's psychologically. Is it true? No.
All right, I think
let me know what you think of that article.
Okay, yeah. I've been like at first I got like an error return, so I had to like reload.
Evidence. Do we have other people who are requesting up?
Yeah, we've got a few. I think they're all trolls. So
Evidence. I'm gonna follow you. If you guys want to give me more sources to go off of that I can review myself, and next time I'll come better prepared.
yeah, go read
and we
Bart
can have
Ehrman
that.
as well. He's a
You said-
biblical scholar. Bart, BART, ERHEHR, Ehrman. If you type it in, he'll pop up.
So, okay, yeah, American scholar Bart D. Ehrman.
Yeah,
Okay, is there anything specific you want me to read, or just
all of it.
Like his blog? I get like multiple sources, so I'm not sure like where.
Yeah, just go to Google
You know,
Scholar.
Google Scholar.
Yeah, that'll just provide you straight up citations that have been peer reviewed.
Google Scholar. All right. Is there anything else? Because I'm open to read these and whatnot. And
My goal is not to take away faith or justification for belief, but critical
no,
thinking
I just
definitely destroys faith.
well, all right. I'll take these two sources and I'll definitely look into them, and then I'll come back with what I find.
I've got a lot more as well. If you do want to look, okay, read the Bible, but then question the Bible. Genesis 1:1, God made the heavens and the earth. Prove it. Figure out what we know about how Earth was made. Figure out how we know how planets are made. Go learn these things and study them and see how ridiculous this fantasy book is.
Question it when it states that Jesus can multiply bread and walk on water and resurrect from the dead. Do research on that, because you're not going to find any source stating that it's possible to resurrect, to multiply bread, to turn water into wine, and to walk on water.
I think the purpose, and like this is just for speculation, I think the purpose of those was to show that like he is not bound by human limitations. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's the purpose of those miracles.
Says
Well, I
the
mean, I think that's the whole point in the first place. Is like he does things that no one's ever seen done.
Book. Spider-Man is not bound by it either. Superman is not bound by gravity. Says the book. The book says so is not proof of the book being true. That's called circular
I'm
reasoning.
not saying it's proof. I'm just saying I think that is the entire point.
No, the entire point is that it's made up, and they needed to make up reasonings for you to be able to justify it. Well, no, he transcends all things. Yeah, no, the fuck? Nice cop out.
You're saying it's like a.
Yeah, that's the literal, like, what they thought about that. That's probably why it says that he transcends all things, because they didn't want people questioning it. They don't want you to question it. But you have to question it.
Everything.
That's literally how you're going to get educated and know what you're talking about, is if you question what you're talking about.
Everything. If people tell me, if I meet some stranger, fuck no, I don't trust them, nor do I respect them. Evidence is going to justify whether I trust them or not. My my future wife, whoever that may be, I'm not going to fucking trust her, nor believe that I should marry her until I have justification for a reason to marry her. I do not believe jack fucking shit. You tell me your handwriting is good? Fuck you, prove it. I don't give a fuck about words. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I don't give a fuck about opinions. I care about facts. And if Einstein says something bullshit like unicorns living in my asshole is why the universe was made, he's a fucking dumbass. Prove it. Everything needs proven. Big Bang Theory, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Evolution, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. God exists, prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Unicorns exist, prove it. Prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it. We fucking need evidence for any and all justification for belief in this natural empirical world we live in. There's no evidence for supernatural, there's no evidence for ghosts, there's no evidence for magic, there's no evidence for your God.
Right, and I see where you're coming from too.
Question it. I'd say question it when God says that it's okay to own slaves that are not Israelites, but when they are Israelites, you must treat them as workers. They must be released within a year.
God is very pro-misogyny, slavery, genocide.
Question it
grape.
when when one guy offers his daughters up to be raped instead of the angels, and God saves him from the city he destroys. He says, "Go, because we're gonna destroy the city."
Wait.
He let
You said which man is this?
this
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. The man offered his daughters up instead of the angels, right? And then the angels were like, "Okay, now flee the city. We're gonna destroy the city."
Yeah, I'm gonna write all this stuff down that you guys were saying just to look into myself because I can't just recite information off the top of my head. So I usually have to have references in front of me. But I'm definitely gonna look into this and evidence and do I say Yahweh lover and Cali?
Yowie.
Yahweh, sorry.
God, you're sensitive.
But I appreciate you guys having this conversation. I'm about to go hop on my friend now in the game before I have to do my stream tonight.
Which game?
And